You look amazing. Love your red as always. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you know.
Right over there.
All right, well, we'll go plant our chairs right
There you
there.
go.
I'm supposed to hand out bags, but I don't see doing.
Check one. Check. Check one. Check one. Come on. Oh, come on. Check one, two. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Hord, and I'm with Charles Hord TV. This is a very special episode of Charles Hord TV. We are broadcasting live from the square in the city of McDonough for what is called an early voting rally with David Perdue. David Perdue is a candidate for U.S. Senate. He's going to be running to fill the seat that Saxby Chambliss is vacating in the U.S. Senate. As a matter of fact, we David Perdue today, or he is on his way to come and encourage folks in Henry County to get out and vote early. We do want to let you know that early voting has already started. If you have not voted yet, we want to encourage you to get out and go ahead and do so. Early voting has a lot of benefits. There's a lot of reasons why you want to get out and vote early. One of those benefits is the fact that you don't have to wait in line. You get in, get out as quickly as you can. I actually early voted on Wednesday of this week, and I was in and out in less than 10 minutes. And so if you can get in and get out, that's probably one of the best things you can do, and it makes it really easy. One of the biggest pet peeves from voters is the fact that they have to stand in line for so long, and that tends to be a big turnoff to voters. And so one of the benefits to getting out and voting early is the fact that you don't have to stand in line. Another benefit to getting out and voting early is that early voting goes throughout the week. As a matter of fact, in some areas, you can vote early on a weekend day. And so we want to encourage everyone to get out and vote early. I've got Sam Pagan here. He is actually with the Seasons Bistro in McDonough. Sam, we're broadcasting live on YouTube and on Facebook. And so, Sam, I appreciate you coming out and checking us out, man. Sam has been really cool with hosting the Young Republicans at Seasons Bistro. And Sam, we really appreciate everything the Republicans and for what you do for our county as well. So tell me about early voting, Sam. Have you got out and voted yet?
I'm
on the spot real quick.
A last minute kind of guy.
I hear you.
You know, I work a lot, so it's kind of say come to my house and just plan on voting. Boy, I tell you, we love them all and what they're doing in our community.
Absolutely. And you know, you mentioned that you work hard at the restaurant here at realize that early voting had already started.
Wow.
I thought, well, gosh, I'm not doing my job.
Well, you're doing a great job. You do with the Young
appreciate that.
Republicans of Henry County. You do a great job. And every time we see you at Seasons Bistro at 41 Griffin Street,
There you go.
we just love having you guys there. Great.
Facebook.
Just Sam on the at where
Sam,
our whole community.
and look, we'll give you a quick.
Yeah.
You have, like, I've seen you got. And it's man, just Sam.
Put it in your hand.
All right, are you paying attention? So the I vote. Andy Welch. Andy is our state representative for District 110. Andy, thank you so much for stopping by. I've got your signs up here, and I appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us for a little while. Andy is running for state representative here in Henry County, but I think you touched some of Butts and Newton as well.
Yes, sir, I do. Yeah, I'm happy to be here today and excited about this. It's a fantastic event. Got a lot of people showing up.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be great. Yeah, I'm excited about the service. You know, that's part of the mission for me is just to try to serve my constituents. And this past sessions that I've been serving, we've had some great opportunity to serve some of our local constituents, pass some legislation that helped them. In particular, we had a young lady, I don't know if you're familiar with her, Jessica Hatcher, and her son Wyatt, who had a congenital heart defect. She came to me and said, "Look, we need to look at the state of Georgia's newborn screening process, and we're not testing for the congenital heart defects, and we've got about they're coming in. Hey." And we have about 1,000 people that are 1,000 children each year that are diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, and we weren't testing for that.
Is that just in Georgia, Andy?
Just in Georgia.
1,000 children.
1,000. And so there's a screening test that can be used. It's a very simple screening test. It's pulse oximetry. She came to me and said, we need to look at this for our hospital. So we drafted legislation that we were able to pass through the House, pass through the Senate. it held over, so we didn't get it signed by the governor. But the director of the department, Dr. Fitzgerald, said, we're going to go ahead and do this.
I love it.
And so they went through rulemaking, and they started the process for rulemaking, and now it's part of the rules, and it's newborn screening. So thanks
fantastic.
to Jessica, one of my constituents, passionate about the issue.
And thanks to your help.
Well, she came to me, and that's the job of being a representative,
That's
is
it.
to listen to what people say in your district.
That's it.
And you know, I'm not coming with any particular agenda, and that's what I hear from other people on the other side and in opposition. They want to push an agenda from Washington. They want to push an agenda that frankly doesn't go back to really representing the people in the district, and that's very troubling to me. And that's just not the way I've approached this position. So I thank you.
I love the fact too that you can see, you know, people in the district, they have a need, and you can meet that need based on what you do in Atlanta for us, which is an amazing thing. And the Mrs. Hatcher story is just one of several, but I keep going back to that. One of the coolest things that I learned about this particular story is that you put Miss Hatcher on that study committee to interact with these doctors one-on-one. So you've got point where it could become fatal. But now that we've got legislation in place that that requires hospitals now to check for this defect, the possibility, what I'm hearing from you, is the possibility now of children not realizing that and dying as a result is very, very much slimmed down.
Well, it gives a lot of comfort to parents.
Absolutely.
You know, the parent, the mother and the dad, they take their child home.
That's right.
And if the child has the congenital heart defect, what happens is the child turns blue because it's not getting oxygen to the body, and they call it blue baby syndrome.
Okay.
And so it turning blue is what's indicative of this, but you usually don't see that for the first until about 24 hours after birth.
Okay.
So this parents take the children home, and if the child has the defect, the child may lose oxygen, which could cause damage to the brain, to vital organs, and it could result in death.
Yeah.
But the solution is you have to bring the child back to the hospital and perform typically open heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
So why not catch it before they ever leave the
That's right.
hospital,
That's
and
right.
and the parents don't have to go through that traumatic event, and there's
That's
no
right.
possible permanent damage to the child or fatalities. This made a lot of sense, and you know, and that's what we're trying to do at the General Assembly. We're trying to take on policies and issues and adjust the laws of this state to address real concerns, not hypothetical things, not overly political stuff. Just really get to the issues that will help Georgia's families, help parents, and these are healthcare adjustments that I think are good to make.
You know, I think when you break it down, Andy, I mean, on a state level, here and party politics aside, we're all, whether we have a D or an R next to our name, we're all affected by the exact same things. We all sit in the same traffic in Atlanta. We all sit in the same traffic here in Henry County. Both you and I are parents, and so when you're dealing with things that affect children and legislation that could be put in pass to prevent some of these things or to detect them early, it's nice to see that even up in Atlanta, party politics aside, the job is to get stuff done for the people back home.
That's right. It doesn't matter whether you're a D or an R. If you've got a child if you're a mom and you're having a child, you know, we don't know what political path.
That's right.
One day.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
What matters is looking out for the parents, looking
That's
out
right.
for the child's health and well-being.
That's right.
I got to run, but thank
Andy,
you, Charles.
thank you
Good
so
to
much.
see
I
you very
appreciate it.
much.
Thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
the interview. Thank you so much. Folks, that's Andy Welch running for State Representative District. If you have not already voted, we want to encourage you to get out, and voting has already started. If you need to know where to go, you go to Phillips Drive here in McDonough. If you live in Henry County, go to Phillips Drive where the election office is located. That's where the Henry County Registrar's office is located, and you will find the precinct set up and ready to go. As a matter of fact, I think there was probably 15 or 20 voting machines. I was in and out in less than 10 minutes. So we're broadcasting again live from the square in the Perdue, and that is Rand Paul. Rand is going to be on the square here very shortly. He's going to be out here to endorse David Perdue and to encourage folks to get out and vote early. So if you have not gotten out and voted early, we want to encourage you to go ahead and do it now. The polls are open right now as we speak. Janet Shellnut is waiting for you down at the Henry County Elections Office. If you don't know where that is, it's on Phillips Drive. If you don't know where Phillips Drive is, you can go online to the Henry County website, click on Henry County Elections, and you'll be able to find where the elections office is. If you wait until Election Day, by the way, that is November the 4th. So if you wait till Election Day, you will need to go then to your precinct. To find out where your election precinct is, you go to the Secretary of State's website. It's just sos.ga.gov. That's the Secretary of State website. You click on the elections. There's going to be a banner right there on the website. You can click on there and find out where your voting precinct is. If you're in the generation that I'm in and you don't like getting on the internet, you can go on your smartphone and download an app called GA Votes. That's GATES, Georgia Votes, and the app will go right on your just saw earlier. We're hoping to get State Representative Brian Strickland over here as well. Brian is representative for District 111, and that is adjacent to Andy's District 110. And so Brian is also on the ballot this go around for District 111 State House Representative. He is a Republican, and he's running against a Democrat for that. So want to encourage you, if you're in that district, to get it. So we're talking about getting out and voting early, and so that's going to be one of the biggest topics of the day today. There's lots of reasons why you want to get out and vote early. My biggest reason is I don't want to stand in line. And I can remember standing in line in the 2008 elections. As a matter of fact, I was still registered in Clayton County when 2008 elections came around, and I remember standing in line out there on Election Day, and my gosh, I probably stood in line for 3.5 hours out there just to vote for the president. And I said, you know what, I'll never do this again. And at the time, I was actually living in Henry County, but I just had not transferred my my voter registration to Henry County. The app that I was just telling you about, GA Votes, if you download that app, you can actually change your registration. So if you're registered in a county that you moved from and are now a resident in Henry County, you can move your voter registration on that app. You don't have to mail in anything. You don't have to make a phone call. You just do that on that app. I'm looking at the lovely Miss April Pear. She's actually behind the camera, but I'm going to ask her if she wants to come on this side of the camera and talk to me for a quick second. I see that Andy Welch shirt. We just got done talking with Andy. April, come on over here and have a seat real quick. I want to talk about early voting with you. She's mad at me, and I'll hear about it later on. But while I've got her, she's got a big smile on her face. The Andy Welch shirt, and I need to know where I can get one of those. But
if you come out on the square today, you can get one.
There you go, on the square in
hand.
McDonough. Come check it. You can't miss us on the square, by the way. The Purdue signs are wrapping around the square. It's an amazing vibe. They're already starting to walk around. So, April,
Right.
Tell me about early voting. Why is it important to get out and vote early?
So you don't have to wait in line on Election Day.
Okay, all right.
And it's just important for the candidates to know which way the votes are going and what they need to do to amp up their campaign.
Interesting. So they can tell by early votes, they can actually see those votes and tell if they're maybe ahead or behind so far in the early voting.
Yes.
So that's good data then for the candidates.
It is. It's
Okay.
very good data for the candidates, and it's just, you're right as an American to get out and vote.
That's exactly right. And here's my thing. If you don't get out and vote, you forfeit your right to complain.
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I don't want to hear complaints if you hadn't got out and vote. Well, tell me about, have you seen any data yet from this election, from the early voting? Do we know what kind of turnout so far with early voting?
Just from what I've seen, there's probably good. My guesstimate, which is very, very good.
Wow, that's great.
So,
that's fantastic. Now, I was just telling the viewers that I was I voted on 10 minutes, maybe 15 to 20 machines set up in there. Now, they were full, but I walked right up to the machine and had this is why you download your ballot ahead of time. You can actually look at your ballot ahead of time on the Secretary of State website. But I didn't realize all the elections that were on this ballot. There were 6 pages of elections that were on this ballot.
There are.
Just so that you understand why it's important to go through all these pages. The Brian Strickland election, I've got Brian's campaign sign right down here. He's running for District 111 in Henry County. His election was actually on page 4 of 6. It was the last page of the candidates before you got to the questions.
Really?
Sure was.
Wow.
So there were a lot of elections that were right up before that. Of course, you had David Perdue and Michelle Nunn, that race there, and then the David Carter and Governor Deal race was on the first page. But there were several other races at the school board. I didn't realize that the Attorney General was up this go around. Sam Olens didn't realize that. But it's important then to go out and download your sample ballot, is what they call it. But that way you can see who you're voting for
and research your candidates.
That's it, ahead of time. Do that ahead of time.
Yes.
You know what was cool when I was voting? There was a lady in I think 2 or 3 machines down from me, and she had all this paperwork. We're looking through, going, "Oh yeah, did I see that?" Or what do I think about to get out and vote? So.
And it's interesting to see when you're actually asked some questions. They
cool.
sit and write questions while these candidates are speaking.
They have 15 big questions. That's been, what have you been doing, knocking on doors and talking to people out in public?
Well, since I am Andy Welch, I just hear great things. You know, Andy Welch he's just a great state representative. He does a lot for Henry County. He's got a lot of good things that he wants to accomplish this upcoming session. That is, if we get voted back in. So, you know, really, if you want to talk to him, give him a call. If you want to know anything about him, give him a call, and he will talk to you. If you actually will speak to me first, and then, you know, if you can't get him, you'll get me, and then you know, I make sure he gets the message, and he does call his constituents back.
That's right.
You know,
I see a lovely lady, as we're talking about Andy Welch. I see a lovely lady that's walking around here that's very related to Andy. Kara, come have a seat. Have to then actually I can say that. I don't guess April can say that, but I can. So we were talking about Andy, and of course we're talking about the importance of getting out and voting early. Andy was just sitting here with me. He was talking about works legislation for folks back home. We talked about Miss Hatcher, who had the little child that was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, and this is something that it's easy to miss. And if you don't get tested for it, it's possible that a child could be born with that, and the mother or the child not know it, and it could be fatal. And so, using his position there in the State House, Andy was able to get some legislation passed that requires hospitals now to do a very simple test to determine whether or not a baby will be born with a congenital heart defect. And so because of that, and from what I understand, is the possibility now of children being born with this type of defect is now severely decreased because of what Andy's done at the State House.
Well, the possibility that they would leave the hospital without having it diagnosed is absolutely been decreased, because as I understand the legislation, and I'm sure he spoke to it, it would require that the children be tested within 24 hours of leaving the hospital. And the problem is that often when this when they're affected by this particular congenital heart defect or these types of defects, they were being released from the hospital without them being identified. And so now having that later testing allows the hospital to catch it and hold on to the child in case, you know, there's something.
Fantastic. And what that will do is it will decrease the possibility of having any long-term effects from that, or possibly even death. I mean, I understand Andy mentioned that there were 1,000 children a year in Georgia that are diagnosed with congenital heart defects, and I didn't realize that.
That's my understanding as well, and I believe that's something that he discovered as part of his research process, and something that had been conveyed by Ms. Hatcher. And in her situation, it was slightly different in that defect was caught immediately. So
she was lucky.
That's right, but it doesn't often happen that way, and that's why
right.
she was so concerned that this legislation happened, so that we could be aware of those children who haven't had the opportunity to be diagnosed in years. So it was very important legislation. It's something he took extremely personally.
And he worked very hard and diligently at this too, getting it passed. He actually had Mrs. Hatcher on the study committee, talking directly with doctors and hospitals about how to implement this test and how to make sure that this gets done. And what Andy mentioned, and I didn't realize this, was that the bill has not been signed into law. However, hospitals are already implementing this test.
Absolutely. I think that's as a result of the study, and I think the study has come back that this is going to be a very efficient and useful diagnoses. And it's something they're already doing at various points in various hospitals for other. I mean, you see your children anytime they go to the doctor, you can get that little Band-Aid wrapped around their finger.
And they measure that way.
It's not something that is extremely costly, but it is something that is extremely efficient in identifying these particular defects. And so I understand and I'm clearly not the authority on this, but I understand that pursuant to this study, they identified that it would be useful and efficient and economical to do it. And absolutely,
it's a no-brainer at this point. You see, sometimes my orange bracelet that I wear represents childhood cancer. The governor actually named the month of September last month Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Georgia. And I have a very good friend, the local Henry County residents that had a baby 4 weeks ago and was just diagnosed with childhood cancer. They were able to catch it early, but this particular child, the cancer was so large that it was actually it was on her spine and it was pressing against her lungs, and the doctors feared that if it pressed any more against her lungs, that it could suffocate her. And so early detection is key when it comes to children. And the reason is a child is not going to tell you, Mommy, my stomach hurts, or my head hurts, or something's wrong with my heart or my chest, or something like that. They don't know that. And so when you do these tests, it's of significant importance to be able to diagnose these things early and catch them early.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, why is it important to get out and vote early?
Because, I mean, voting is an important right.
That's
Obviously,
right.
I don't need to remind you that it's been fought for.
That's exactly right.
This is a privilege. It's not.
That's right.
It's something that we really need to exercise, and it's something that allows us to engage in the process, and then doing your research before voting allows you to really be an efficient part of the process.
That's right.
And start to have those discussions. I mean, Andy's cell phone is out there regularly in his materials.
That's
if
right.
you start to do research and you come across something that you have a question about, or you feel like you can't support, then you have the opportunity to call him and engage in that process prior to casting your vote. That's why having early voting available gets people thinking kind of before, even if you don't choose to vote early, if you vote on election day, you've had the opportunity to early go ahead and get engaged in the process
in your mind.
Do your do your due diligence, and that way you can engage a candidate, whoever it is, and get answers to the questions that you may have. There's only so much that can be put out there on a website or on a Facebook page or in some campaign material, and you can't anticipate all questions. There's no way we could have ever anticipated that Jessica Hatcher had this particular problem that she wanted to address until she came forth and spoke to us. Really starting to think about it now and starting to become engaged now allows you the opportunity to get the answers you want before you cast your vote.
That's a great perspective, and engaging your representatives is key, because if Nancy or if Mrs. Hatcher had not, Jessica Hatcher had not engaged Andy, who knows? We'd still be in the same spot. I mean, she was lucky, but the next one may not be. And so it's very important. I was telling April just a little while ago, when I went and voted on Wednesday, I went ahead and voted early and voted on Wednesday. And a little old lady 2 or 3 machines. She's taking it. But I appreciate you coming on and showing Andy's better half to everybody here. I work for Andy, so I'm hoping Kara's going to put in a good word for me, and we'll see about getting a raise. So, Kara, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much. We're broadcasting live on the square in McDonough. It's an early voting rally. David Perdue is going to be here momentarily. Rand Paul is going to be here to endorse David Perdue and to try to drive people to the polls. If you have not voted yet, we cannot stress enough to get out and vote early. Go ahead and do it now. If you need to know where to vote early, your precinct right now is the election office. It's on Phillips Drive in McDonough. If you don't know where that is, we want to encourage you to go online. You can go to the Henry County website and you can find the election office right there on the website. You can also go to the Secretary of State's website and you can pull up the election precincts and polling areas there as well. So we want to encourage you to go ahead and do that. You can also pull up a copy of your sample ballot. And what that is that's just basically a copy of your ballot. It's not an official ballot, so you can't use that to vote, but you can see who's going to be on your ballot. You can see what races you're going to be picking and voting on and who's going to be on your ballot. So it's important to pick up that sample ballot, take a look at it, and know ahead of time who's going to be on your ballot. Once again, we're broadcasting live on the square in the city of McDonough. David Perdue will be here momentarily. As a matter of fact, we're expecting him probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. Rand Paul is going to be here as well. and they're going to be encouraging folks to get out and vote early. Well, we've talked to Andy Welch. We're waiting on Brian Strickland. Hopefully he'll be by momentarily. I keep looking around for him to see if I see him, but Brian is running a state house race for District 111, and that's a position at the state capitol where you advocate in Atlanta to make laws in the state of Georgia that benefit us here in McDonough, here in Henry County. And so it's important to have that that position up there for Brian Strickland as well. You've also got the Deal race and the Perdue race. So those are some of the big name races that are on this ballot. If you go ahead and download your sample ballot, you'll be able to see who's going to be on your ballot before you get to the polls. And I alluded to that so you got 1 week left to get out and vote early. And one of the benefits, again, is the flexibility of the voting times. You're out there, the polls are open from 8 until 5, and that's Monday through Friday. In fact, there are certain weekend days, certain areas, certain cities will have weekend days, or Saturday or a Sunday, where you can get out and vote as well if during the week is not convenient for you. But we talked to Sam Pagan from the Seasons Bistro. By the way, if you go out and vote and you've got your voter sticker, you can go to Seasons Bistro, and Chef Sam is going to give you a nice little surprise. When you go vote early, get out to Seasons Bistro and go have like I said, if you have not gotten out and voted yet, we want to remind you and want to encourage you to get out to TV on the square in McDonough. If you're ready to get engaged and you're in the 18 to 40 crowd, we want to encourage you to look up the Henry County Young Republicans. You can go and search Henry County Young Republicans. You'll be able to find them on Facebook, and you'll be able to keep in touch with what they've got going on. They meet on the second Monday of every month at the Seasons Bistro that we've been talking about, and it's right here off the square. As a matter of fact, I can walk to the Seasons Bistro from where I'm sitting. So if you're ready to get engaged, or you just want to learn a little bit more about the process and learn a little bit more about what's going on in Henry County, want to encourage you to check out the Henry County Young Republicans. If anything, like them on Facebook. You get updates about what's going on. They'll update you on meetings. They'll update you on elections. If you want to get involved in a campaign, if you want to work for the Deal campaign, or work for the Perdue campaign, or the Strickland campaign, or the Welch campaign, the Henry County Young Republicans is a great venue to get plugged in with those campaigns. We can sit here and talk about what you want to happen all day long, but when you get involved and you get engaged with your leaders, like that's when you have the real impact. When the leaders are listening to you and making laws and legislation in the state of Georgia that benefit you here back at home. What goes on in Atlanta is not isolated. It's not insulated from Henry County. It has a direct effect on Henry County. In the Henry County Young Republicans meetings, we've had people that were associated with the county, let's say county officials like your county commissioners. We've had the county manager come out and talk to us, and they have to deal on a daily basis with our state folks. And so when the county needs help from the state to get something done, roads paved or traffic lights hung up, or none of these projects, they have to turn to the state. And so when the county and the state have a great working relationship, it makes those things go by very smoothly. And so just more reasons to get out and vote early. We want to encourage you to go to the Henry County Registrar's Office page. You can go to the Henry County page and find the voter information. You can go check out that page and find out where on Phillips Drive the voting location is and vote. It takes less than 10 minutes if you go during early voting. Now, it's a different story if you go on November the 4th because everyone else that waited till November the 4th is going to be out there with you as well. If you're tech savvy and maybe you're in the Young Republicans age group 18 to 40 and you've got a smartphone, you can download an app called GA Votes. That's GAVOTES. And you can go use that app and find out where your polling precinct is. You can find out who you're elected and you can find out all the information you need to know about to go get out and vote. You'll know where to vote. You'll know who to vote for. You can do some research on your candidates. What I love about it, I've probably used this app maybe 100 times in the last 2 weeks, is talking with other people. Have you got out and voted yet? No, I don't know where to go. Well, let me pull up this app real quick. What's your name and your birthday? Boom. I can find their voting precincts, their polling locations. I can find out who their representatives are. And since, I'm engaged in the process, I know, well, if it says District 111, I know that's Brian Strickland. If it says District 110, I know that's Andy Welch. If it says District 109, Rutledge, these are your state representatives in Atlanta. What we're hearing right now so far with the numbers from early voters is that the numbers are way down. Early voting is way down right now in Henry County with this election. And so it's important that we have a rally like this with people like David Perdue, like Rand Paul, to help drive people to the polls, because it's vitally important that you get out and vote. And so it's great to have rallies like this to inform people and to get them out and to vote. And so if you have not voted, we want to encourage you to get out and do so. If you don't know where your polling precinct is, your voting location, told you several times, go check out the registrar's office in Henry County. If you don't live in Henry County, go to the Secretary of State's website. It's sos.ga.gov, and you can find out where your polling precinct is. We're going to be getting started here momentarily with David Perdue. I believe I've just seen him pull up, and he's walking over to the stage, which is actually on the other side of where we are. He's going to be giving just a couple of speeches here very quickly, and we're going to want to check that out. So I'm going to hop up real quick, and we'll try to get our focus over there on David Perdue. So thank you for watching our broadcast. This is a special broadcast of Charles Hord TV presented by the Henry County Young Republicans. Thanks for so much for being with us. We're going to turn things over now to the David Perdue campaign. Folks, just once again, we're broadcasting from the Square live in Henry County on the Square in McDonough. This is the early voter rally hosted by candidate for U.S. Senate David Perdue. He is in a race against Democrat Michelle Nunn, and we want to encourage everyone to get out and vote. The clock on the Square in Henry County just struck 1 o'clock. And so we'll be underway very momentarily, and we want to encourage you to stick around with this broadcast so that you can hear what David Perdue has to say and what he has to offer as the U.S. Senator from the state of Georgia. He will be joining, if he's elected, he'll be joining Johnny Isakson in the U.S. Senate in Washington, D.C. We've had actually have a couple of our state senators here that are senators here in Atlanta, a couple of our state representatives that are representatives in Atlanta as well. And so we're moment on his bus of that. Now, Representative Andy Ruff will get the one thing from the state. Andy?
We've got a special guest today in the governor's office. First Lady, Senator Bill. Let me tell you why I'm supporting making this government. When you're talking about leadership, you gotta have more than vision. You gotta have more than just hot language. So you're gonna have it. You're gonna have a strategic plan to implement that vision. If it's just a vision, it could be a law. You want someone who has to deliver on that vision. Governor Hill set out to deliver on a vision. Criminal justice reform, he said we're going to change that. We're going to take people that have paid their debt to society, give them jobs in society. Governor Hill said,
very special people with us here today. I did see our Agricultural Commissioner, Gary Black, come in, and he's right back here. The first lady, Sandra Bill. For the GIP. Mayor Billy Franklin from McDonough. We have Mayor Robert Price from Michael Brown. We have our president, who is our former national chairman for the GNC. And from our city of McDonough, we have Craig Elrod and Elizabeth Stewart. And let's see, don't miss anybody. We also have Rick Stockton here from the Black Republican Council. He is our chairman.
Good afternoon, everybody. You fired up? I mean, this is a great modern days, you know? And what do you think about when you think of I think United States Senator focus also on foreign relations promoting the way every American do it. He's a senator today. We have no guarantee, not guaranteeing the future lives in the election and November the 4th. We can't wait in one time to vote.
Well,
I'm here to influence David Cruz. Give it up for him. Besides, you've already tried to
Folks, it is a little difficult to hear what's going on, but Rand Paul is actually speaking on behalf of David Perdue. We heard from State Representative Andy Welch, who introduced First Lady Sandra Deal, who is here today. And Andy was very vibrant in his discussion of what the governor has already done, what he's promised, and what he has delivered on. And then Andy Welch, or rather Brian Strickland, introduced Rand Paul. And so Rand Paul is speaking now on behalf of David Perdue.
Until we take over the majority, we will never get a chance to fix the tax bill. If you've got 49 Republicans, you get 0% of the agenda. You get the 51 Republicans, you get 100% of the agenda. We have the highest corporate tax in the whole world right now. We are twice what Canada's tax rate is. I never thought I'd be on the stage saying that I'm envious of Canada's tax rate. We have a regulatory burden of $2 trillion a year, a tax burden of $3 trillion a year, and we're not going to improve it. We figure out one simple thing. If you want Georgia to do better, you want Georgia to have more jobs, you got to leave more money in Georgia and spend less money around. The election, all four elections are smaller than the presidential election. You can have a big impact. You go home and call 10 friends and tell them about the vote. You drive campaign books and emails to them. It's going to be fair. We plan them in, and then David offers a vision for the country, good common sense, business acumen that we need. Help us send in budgets this month on their career. Why is he blocking up the bill? To allow our government. Georgia, all the way. This is a big state. People love it. We have to get this message out. Our voter, if you hit voter on get a person to love you right there.
Folks, just so that you know, David Perdue has put the microphone down. They were having some technical issues with his microphone, and so it's making it a little bit difficult to hear, but he is certainly energizing the crowd and encouraging folks to get out and to vote early. Your help. God bless you.
Now, if you have not voted early, you have the opportunity to do so today. If you live in Henry County, we have a voter election. Please do that. You need to do more than just that. You need to tell every single neighbor, every family member, every friend, everybody who has a child, when they please have them go vote. You are the we cannot end this race out. So you want to make going out and being a
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. David Perdue energizing the crowd a little bit here. A good speech from Andy Welch. A great introduction from State Representative Brian Strickland. Difficult to hear. They were having some trouble with his microphone, but I'm trying to see if I can get a couple of folks out here real quick that we can talk to and maybe get a couple of interviews from some folks. I'm eyeing Henry County Tax Commissioner. He is on the square at this point and want to see if maybe we can but the big topic of the day is early voting. It's getting out and voting early and making sure that that your voice is heard. So if you have not voted early, the whole purpose of the day is to encourage vote very quickly. You can even do it on your lunch break. So if you don't have time during the day at work, you can go on your lunch break and vote early that way. You will be in and out of the elections office, at least in Henry County, in less than 10 minutes. And so so you don't want to you definitely don't want to miss the opportunity to get out and have your voice heard. So we had said a little bit earlier that that if you don't vote, you forfeit your right to complain. And so if you don't like how things are going in Washington or in Georgia, or if you feel like things are going great and we need to keep them going great, then get out there and vote and make sure your voice is heard. But we just heard from David Perdue, candidate for U.S. Senate. He is in a race against Democrat Michelle Nunn. And David absolutely getting the crowd energized out here, talking with folks, shaking a lot of hands. Great to see the response from Henry County coming out here to support David. But again, the reason that we're out here is to remind folks and to encourage people to get out and vote early. If you have not done so, go do it now. The polls are open as we speak. Early voting has already started. If you don't know where your precinct is, you can go to the Henry County website, and you can find where the voting office is. It's on Phillips Drive in McDonough. So you can go check that out and find out where to go vote. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Secretary of State website as well, you can find your voting precincts. You can also download a sample ballot and get an idea of who is going to be on your ballot. You can go ahead and start doing some research, some early research, and finding out who you want to vote for. Hopefully you've already done that, but if you have not, this gives you that opportunity to be able to do that. So, and then get out and vote early. We've mentioned earlier that the early voting turnout here in Henry County, at least, has been very slim. And so if you were anticipating or planning on getting out and going to vote early, we want to encourage you to go out and do that now. Don't wait any longer. Go ahead and get out and vote early. There's a lot of data that can be extracted from early votes. You can kind of find out how a candidate is doing and get an idea of the turnout. And so it's very important that you go ahead and get those numbers in. Go ahead and get that data in and let people find out what kind of numbers are turning out of the polls. Again, we're live on the square in McDonough for a early voting rally with David Perdue. I was speaking with Joyce Hinton, who is the chairwoman of the Henry County GOP, and she was talking about getting out here and just energizing folks to get out and vote, and that's the idea. I see Mayor Price just ahead of me here. Mayor Price is the mayor of the city of Locust Grove. Locust Grove is one of the 4 cities in Henry County, and Mayor Price is kind of making his way this way. If I can, I'm going to try to snag him and get him over here for an interview real quick. He always has his lovely wife with him, but Locust Grove making some really big strides here lately with the Tanger Outlet Mall. The addition of that down there is just huge. Just amazing shops down there, and what I like about Tanger Outlet Mall is there's some shops down there that you can't get anywhere else but in Henry County. So you're bringing folks from outside of the county coming to Henry County to come do some shopping, spend that money here, and let us collect that sales tax, and that helps out. We also in Locust Grove just recently got a Walmart, and so that also helps as well. Mayor Price, would you be willing to do a quick interview? I see you on the way out with your lovely wife, Mrs. Price. I apologize. Can I steal him for a second? Thank you so much. Folks, Mayor Price is the mayor of the city of Locust Grove. We were just talking about, yeah, come on, have a seat, Mayor. We were just talking about some of the stuff that's coming to Locust Grove, like the new Walmart and things like that, sales tax. Mayor Price, please tell us why it is so important to get out and vote early. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's so important for the people of Henry County to get out and vote, and of course the whole state to vote early, because if we don't get these changes made up in Washington, we won't have the progress that we need in my town of Locust Grove, in my county of Henry County, in my state of Georgia. So it's very important that everybody gets out and vote. And in my town, you can start voting, be in Locust Grove next Monday morning, and we want to see it polls full every day, and for people to bring all their friends and relatives and neighbors to vote, because the state of Georgia, this is one of the most important elections.
That's right.
And I'm 70 years old, and I think this is one of the most important elections that we've ever had coming up this term, and I've seen in the state of Georgia since I've been here.
Mayor Price, I wouldn't put you a day over 35, all right?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mayor Price, tell me again, for the folks that are watching that are from Locust Grove, tell me again where they're going to be going starting Monday to go vote.
You vote in I still call it the old First Baptist Church building, but
Yes,
it's a recreation building back there. And there'll be plenty of signs there to tell you, if you just get on 42 and come to Locust Grove, and you'll find it. But if you don't find it, you just come up to the city hall, and I'll walk outside and show you exactly where to go, have someone take you up there to get you up there to where you can vote.
So if you're at home and you need a ride, perhaps,
that's right,
you'll just call the city hall, talk to Mayor Price. They will make it happen. Mayor Price, I'll tell you what I love. When I call City Hall and I ask to speak to Mayor Price, they give me Mayor Price.
Yes,
imagine that.
And
I get to talk directly to the mayor and ask him questions. And Mayor Price, I appreciate you being so transparent with everybody. And you've done an amazing job in the city of Locust Grove. We're very proud to have you as a mayor. And so we thank you for everything that you do.
That's right. But it takes a team, just like it does in Washington. It takes them 50-something votes. Well, in Locust Grove, we have a good team. And you won't read about us in the paper usually, because we still try to work little things out and not cause a squabble about a lot of things. But we are progressing.
I was going to say, it's called progress.
That's right.
And that's one of the big things. We were talking about sales tax money coming from the Tanger Outlet Mall there in Locust Grove, the new Walmart, all under this man's jurisdiction there. And so the tax revenue that's generated from these areas is fantastic for the county, a huge benefit to the county. And so we're proud to have Locust Grove as part of Henry County.
That's right. Thank you. And yes, but it's just like if you spend a penny in Locust Grove, anyway, all of us in the county share that penny.
That's right.
And we are, through the splosh, we are building $3.5 million public safety building. This should have been built 10 years ago. And in conjunction, the Henry County is building a new fire campus, and we are working real good with the county. Meetings yesterday, and
Voting has already started. Right now, it's going to be on Phillips Drive at the elections office, but you can go to the park recreation in the crowd as well. A great politician, just like David, her husband, with some of the ladies out here. Make sure you cast your vote for David Perdue. Make sure you cast your vote for Governor Nathan Deal, for Andy Welch if you're in District 111, for Dale Rutledge if you're in District 109. That's for your state representative. If you have not voted, and do it now. In the city of Locust Grove, city of Locust Grove starting on Monday, and that's going to be done right next door to the city hall on the corner there. Building is the old first uh, uh, church building.
think if I'm not mistaken, when Locust Grove breaks, you'll be able to vote early. Yeah, this is a fact. You'll be able to vote early in Hampton.
Okay.
And Stockbridge.
Now, tell me, Bob, do you know where in Hampton you can go vote early?
Boy, that's a great
Stay tuned. Yeah, that's right. Listen, if you don't know, go to the Henry County website. If you go to the registrar's office, all that information is on the website. I've been pointing people to that all day. As a matter of fact, Bob, listen, if you're tech savvy, you know, there's an app on your smartphone called GA Votes. Right. And man, I have been using that app probably 100 times for the last 2 weeks. I'm talking to some friends of mine. They say, well, I don't even know if I'm registered to vote. Yeah. Well, look, put your name in here, put your birthday in here, and this will tell you.
This will tell you.
And it'll also tell you where to go.
That's right.
It's mindless.
It tells you your precinct, the whole shit.
That's right.
To vote because it's always nothing more frustrating than to go to the wrong precinct.
That's right. That's my sign. Yes, sir. That's my sign. Yes, sir. Yeah. Listen, folks, I got somebody coming up here trying to steal my signs. I tell you what. Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Pleasure talking to you. Listen, if you have not voted early, get out and do it now. It's vitally important.
It's vitally important. We need every single vote.
That's right.
That's right. Every vote is important.
That's exactly right.
We've got to get it. It's a tight race, and we're going to win.
Yeah, come on now. Come on, have a seat if you want to say something.
Okay,
so I just want to know why it's important to get out and early vote. That's probably what I've asked folks all day long is why is it important to get out and vote? Tell folks why it's important to get out and vote.
It's important to get out and vote, especially this time, because the freedom of America is at stake.
That's right.
Close enough?
It is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The freedom of America is at stake. This is a critical vote, a very critical vote. And if we do not capture the House and the Senate this time, then we're going to find that we're going to end up with a dictatorship. And we're already close to a dictatorship.
That's right.
And we have to turn that around, and now's the time to turn it around.
I like what Perdue says when he's out talking. He said, he said that Nancy Pelosi and Reid and Obama, they don't need any more votes in the Senate. That's why he's saying you need to vote for me and vote for Republicans so that you take away those votes from the leading Democrats that are in the Senate up there in Washington. What that does is essentially when you take back the Senate, we have the House of Representatives. When you take back the Senate, you take power away from the president. You take the ability for the president to go ahead and just start pushing stuff through away from him. And so it's important that we get out there and vote. I was talking to Mayor Price a little bit earlier. Mayor Price is the mayor in Locust Grove, and he said, Charles, I'm 70 years old. And he said that the election now is probably one of the most elections that we've had.
It is probably one of the most important in here and getting jobs going. And so we are getting a turnaround here in Georgia, but it's not going to do much good if the whole nation doesn't turn around. If we do not get in control of the Senate and remain in control of the House, then we are going to be, it's going to be pitiful what's happened to America. And most people can't see that far ahead or don't even realize when we're nearing slavery. And what slavery is when we're controlled and we don't have any say-so, and we have to do what the president says because he becomes a dictator and we lose our representation.
That's right. That's right. And so the votes that you're casting right now not only will affect the rest of our lives, but will also affect our children. And so it's vitally important to get out and vote. Vote early. Avoid those lines. As a matter of fact, I was in and out on Wednesday. Was in and out of the election office in less than 10 minutes. There were probably 15 or 20 voting machines set up, and most of them were full, but I was able to walk right up to one, cast my votes, walk right back out, and I still had time to go eat lunch on my lunch break. So if you have not voted yet, we want to encourage you to get out and vote early. Mayor Price did mention that in the city of Locust Grove, if you live in Locust Grove, early voting is going to start in the city of Locust Grove starting on Monday. And you can go to the County Parks and Recreation building right there and cast your vote if you live in Locust Grove.
And if you live in Henry County, you can vote today.
That's right.
That's right. Today and now on.
That's right. Vote. That's right. And if you don't vote now, November 4th is your day. That's a Tuesday. We're about a week and a couple of days away from that. So this coming Tuesday will make it a week away. You have 1 week left of early voting. And so if you intend to get out an early vote, go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, you'll be with everyone else that waited to the last minute on November the 4th.
Now, there's another problem with America, and that's with this administration, too. I'm talking about the Democrats. They have shut out God. Shut out God in our schools, shut out God everywhere. And the important, this nation was really founded on God. The first 100 years they had church service in the Capitol. In the Capitol building they had church services, and now you can't even have a Bible in the schools. They've taken all the Bibles out of schools. When I was in grammar school, we used to read the Bible, have the Bible reading in school every day. But the important thing is we have to remember that God determines what's going to happen with the nation, and the nation has turned their back on God, so God is sort of allowing it to happen. And so what we have to do is change that and realize that Jesus Christ was God who came to earth, lived a perfect life, called the Son of God. And then he went to the cross and died for sins, not our sins, not his sins, but our sins. He died for your sins and my sins. So that all we have to do now is believe that his payment for our sins is enough to save us from the lake of fire. The lake of fire is a horrible place that God made so that it would keep everybody and encourage everybody to believe that Jesus Christ was their Savior so they could avoid that. So you determine your own eternal destiny. Either you believe that Jesus Christ is your Savior, or you reject him as your Savior and you end up in the lake of fire. So you don't turn from sin, give up sin, join a church. You don't do anything. All you do, you don't change your life. All you do is believe that his payment for your sins is enough to save you, and that's what saves you. The moment you believe, you are given a spiritual birth, and that spiritual birth is what's needed to live with God forever. And that's what Christ was talking about, being born again. When Nicodemus, who was one of the best people that ever lived, came up to him, he didn't tell him, change your life, clean up your life, turn from sin. He couldn't have told him that because he's already living a life that he thought was above sin. But he did tell him, you have to be born again, and that's a spiritual birth that you don't feel or know about except from the Word of God. And all you do to get that birth is just believe that Jesus Christ is your Savior. And then he continued on in John chapter 3 talking to Nicodemus, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish. You won't go to the lake of fire, but you will have everlasting life, live with God forever in heaven. And the only condition believes.
Folks, it's that message that the United States of America was built on. It is that reason for that message that we can sit here and speak that into a microphone and be live on the internet and on television. It's the freedom to be able to move that message. Is the reason. Appreciate it, folks.
Yes,
listen,
sir.
guys, listen, if you have not voted yet, the whole reason for us to be out here today is to encourage you to get out and vote early. Early voting has been going on for a week now. The numbers that are coming out of Henry County right now are weak, and so we want to encourage folks to get out and to vote early, and get your friends out as well. If they don't know where to go online, check it out on the Secretary of State website. They'll be able to tell you and point you in the right direction. So if you have not voted, we want to encourage you to get out and vote early. If you don't, November the 4th is going to be your date, and it'll be with everyone else that waited to the last minute to go vote. So, if you don't vote early, please get out and vote November the 4th. We've mentioned some of the races that are going on right now. You've got the David Perdue race against Michelle Nunn. David Perdue was here on the score just a while ago, and Locust Grove, McDonough, Hampton, and Stockbridge will each have days and times a couple of booths down from me, and she had all her paperwork with her and was ready to go and knew who she was going to be voting for, and so it was nice formed to get out and vote. So, folks, I believe that's going to wrap up our broadcast today from the city of McDonough Square. I want to thank you for joining us and for being with us. We do apologize that the audio was not so good with David Perdue, but want you to know that that the message is clear. Get out and vote early. Early voting has already started. We're a week into early voting. You've got 1 week left to early vote until the general election on November the 4th. And so if you have not voted, get out and vote now. Also, talk with your friends. Make sure they've gotten out and voted. If they haven't, take them to the precincts. Find out where they need to go. Get the GA Votes app. And you can put in your friend's information and find out where your friend's precinct is. So if they don't know, you can put their name and birthday into the app, and it will say your precinct is X, Y, and Z. Your elected officials are these people. Get out and vote. For Charles Hord TV, this has been a very special broadcast from the Square live in the city of McDonough. For Charles Hord TV, presented by the Henry County Young Republicans. I'm Charles Hord. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, be sure to get out and vote. From the Square, McDonough, I'm Charles Hord for Charles Hord TV. We'll see you soon. Take care.